Hello and welcome to the web series from Consult Manasi. I'm your host Mansi, and today we have with us Pretheesh. I met him like close to about I think 2 years ago, and there is a story to this. Okay, he is not from the digital marketing background. When I met him 2 years ago, he was like, "Hey, let's check this out." But mind you, he had a sound knowledge of marketing in terms of understanding the dynamics, the consumer, and the product. So let's listen to what he has to say. Hi, Pretheesh. Welcome.
Hi, Mansi. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so tell me more. Tell me something about your background. Tell me something about yourself. You know, your qualification, your hobbies. How did you get yourself into
Absolutely.
digital?
Great. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me for the show. And everybody, as Mansi mentioned, up until 2 years ago, I wasn't in actively in the digital marketing space, but more passive. Uh, my specialization is more towards SEO. Uh, to give you a quick background about what I was and what I am at the moment, started in 2012, right after college, did engineering in Chennai. Joined IBM as a ticketing agent. That was the first start of my career. I felt like this is not where I'm supposed to end, and there was an opening with Microsoft, and then applied for that, and then got into devices and deployment. So all the Surface phones, Windows, software architecting, that was more of my skill set. Stayed in Microsoft till 2019, actually. So till I met Mansi. Uh, I, I was one of the youngest folks to exit as a premier field engineer. If you could do a quick Google search about what role a premier field engineer does, you'll be it's quite a handful, I'd say. So I used to handle projects like Mercedes, Infosys, Thomson Reuters, Tesco, a lot of big brands. That is when I started interacting more with their customer front itself. So then I sort of found my calling, I'd say. I was able to understand the way that everything was working, the way that every single product was placed in their physical stores. So when I used to go to audit their physical retail stores to see how we can automate things from the Microsoft's perspective, uh, found out that every single component was placed strategically. So that sort of intrigued me to understand a little bit more about this customer psychology and the buying behavior and everything. Then, since the role that I was in required a lot of learning, it sort of helped me in adapting to this new tech, towards digital marketing. And I think from from a really long time, uh, we've been exposed to digital marketing, and then since it wasn't very difficult to get into the space, but once I got into the space, then I realized that okay, this is vast. You need to have a lot of time, a lot of patience, and the right type of thinking, I would say. So I believe, in my personal opinion, digital marketing is actually marketing just done digitally. That's about it, right? You just use the help of tools to reach audiences you could never reach before. That's about it. You're not physically restricted. That is the reason the adaptability has been easier. The adaptability has been pretty focused, and then people and businesses have moved to where their customers have moved, right? So I think that would say why I chose digital marketing as my career, and that is why I started IODED as well. Thanks to Manasi as well.
That's well and that's sweet, Pritish. Actually, I'm so glad that you brought this out because I still have a lot of people who come to me who've done digital marketing courses, and when I ask them why digital marketing, they just give me like a host of things which says, "Oh, traditional media is like this. Digital can be done like this." I'm like, no, that was 5 years ago. Okay, now
Yes.
it's not something that works that way. um, this is quite a background that you have. You come from a very technical background, okay, but I'm glad that you also looked at how strategy can be used and how it's actually used
Exactly.
to, place or position your products. What are your hobbies?
So hobbies, I'm sort of a geek, I'd say. Uh, like I mentioned, since my specialization is into SEO, most of the time I just read something or the other, because what I like to do, when you're a trainer, it's your responsibility to give your trainees perspective from a lot of people, right? That's the biggest thing that I see trainers not doing. They only imbibe the information that they have consumed from someone else, from an individual perspective. But that's not how strategies work. If you don't see something from 10,000 feet above, you're never going to see the individual components which can be used interconnected and then make the campaign even more better. So I like to consume a lot of information from a lot of folks like Neil Patel, from Backlinko, from Ahref is one of the channels that I dedicatedly follow, because that is one of the tools that I love. Uh, uh, and Getting their perspective, be it small, be it a fresher, it gives a fresh perspective to think of things differently. So that is, I would say, my prime hobby. Next to that, listening to Eminem uh, whenever I'm reading something. So that is what I would sum it up as.
That's quite a sound balance, actually. But why IODED? Why did you start IODED? What designation do you hold there? What is your roles and responsibilities? How does your day look like as a person from IODED?
Yeah. So IODED is a brief for Institute of Digital Education Development. Uh, the way that we've named IODED as Digital Education and Development is because we are not only going to be in digital marketing. So as a part of when I was with Microsoft, I used to train a lot of people. So I used to be a global SME for encryption. I used to be a global SME for cloud technologies, and I used to go to these places to set up a team completely. The last project that I was in was with Mercedes, where they were setting up their Bangalore office, and then I had to set up their whole team. So at that time, I noticed a few things that. Uh, People, different set of crowd uh, receive information differently. So if when you're a trainer, if you are rigid, uh, it doesn't work, because you'll have people who might be technically called as dimlit, just slow learners. That's it. I would say they're not dimlit. It's just the way that you have to reach to them would be a little different. That sort of wanted me to, and even when I was taking up any sort of online training, it was very monotonous. It was like, okay, generic audience, and then if you are technical enough, it would have a prerequisite document that you have to be up and skilled with. But yes, none of them does not guarantee that you would actually consume the information after you've completed the course, right? So that sort of brought me into the training space, because I was pretty flexible when it comes to training a lot of people. I've trained people who just out of college, and people who had 2 to 3 decades of experience in cloud technologies itself. I was able to understand the mindset of a trainee, and then how I can deliver the information best. So that is one of the main reasons why we brought up IODIT. And
Pretheesh, are you there? Hello? I'm sorry, I think we lost you. Hello? Okay. Hey, sorry, we lost you there by a bit, but yes, please go on. We are intently listening.
That was one of the reasons why I wanted to get into training. I wanted to give the best type of information, I'd say, in a crisp format where everybody can understand. And like I was saying, IODED is strategically named as digital education development and not digital marketing. So the intention is to pilot with digital marketing, then eventually, get into the rest of the edtech platforms as well. So we're building our own edtech platform at the moment, so that uh, it can be more of efficiency building rather than acquiring a new skill. So
Perfect. And I want to ask you quickly in like the next 1 minute to sum up, what is it that IODED offers people? Because I've seen a lot of digital marketing academies and institutes. What is it
Mhm.
that IODED can offer people that is special compared to the rest of them? What's your USP?
All right. USP in the sense, uh, I would say we provide a different sort of a program, which was a huge disruptor in the market, which is called Pay After Placement Bootcamp. So what we've done in this boot camp is we've collaborated with Rapido, we've collaborated with Solvex, we've collaborated with Golden Square, a lot of startup ecosystem companies in Bangalore. And the main thing about this particular program is you don't have to uh, pay the complete course fee at the start of the course at all. So it's sort of, people say that it is sort of a cocky statement. Uh, we say you pay after placement because we are pretty confident in the way that we train. So unless and until we are able to place you, uh, you don't have to pay us a penny. So
That's
that
very
is one
interesting.
of the things that we do. Yeah.
Perfect. I think that's very interesting. In fact, when I met a couple of CXO level members from IDED, um, I'll tell you what impressed me. The very fact that one is you're updated, okay, and you're always worried. You're always worried that every time there's an update from Google or Facebook, your only worry is first how will you implement it, okay, and then take the learnings from that implementation and go and tell your class. So I think
Yeah.
the voracious readers that everybody is, from trainers to the CXO level members, I think that's very impressive, because I know for a fact that eventually, like, if I have something to ask, I know I can always come there and say, hey, you know what, have you checked this out? This is a new update. And I know that, somebody there will know about it who has done in-depth research on that. So I think that's very, very impressive. That
True.
brings me to this spot, because IDED has been there for quite some time now. Many students, many things being trained, and a couple of branches as well. What are your tips for a digital marketer who has, just completed, who's been there in the industry for about a year or two? Okay, because that's the phase
Yeah.
where they get to know that, okay, the theory that I learned and the practicals that I learned are a little different, and they're just getting their hands dirty. So, what is your
Yeah.
tips to them?
So very first thing is shy away from YouTube. uh, you would find a lot of gurus there, right? Uh, the reason why I say shy away from YouTube is it's a world of it's a world of different people with different way of how they have consumed information, how they are presenting it to you, right? So if you follow somebody very strictly, try to understand why they came up with this. So what I tell my students is always do reverse engineering. So if there is something which was the product or the end product or the outcome, why did you achieve this? Try to break things into small implementational pinpoints or reference points, so that you can when if a campaign is going wrong, you know where what needs to be changed to make things better. So absolutely that comes with experience. And the other thing that I urge all of my students is, if in case they get an opportunity to join a company as a digital marketer, they it's better to choose a startup rather than an MNC. Reason being, in startup you literally get your hands dirty. There would be calls all the way from 8 a.m. all the way to 12 a.m. in the night, right? So your every decision would be with you. You would have the freedom to explore a lot of avenues that you may not have, because trust me, I've been in a corporate environment. The very first team that I joined in was so bifurcated that I felt like a monkey trained with a banana could do the same job that I'm doing, right? So uh, do not look for the money early in your career, because you should be able to consume as much as knowledge, as much as perspective as possible, because marketing, like a digital marketing, like I mentioned, is just marketing online. So you have the tools. There are the way the tools are designed is you click on a button, it is supposed to do something, what it is designed to do, right? So, but become the person who is using the tool properly. To give you an example, it's a cliched example. Uh, all of us use a single tool almost every day throughout our life. It's called a keyboard. I write ad copies, I write blogs. J.K. Rowling wrote the best novel ever made. So try to become the person who is using the same tool. That's about it.
That's very, very interesting perspective. Pritesh, now I want to come to this question, like, you know,
Mhm.
um, this business requires you to be updated, not just in what digital marketing is, but also techniques of communication itself. Okay. And
Yes.
I see that everybody at IODED is into this. Okay. You're constantly innovating, you're constantly learning. So what drives you guys on these things, like, to learn apart from what digital marketing is, to get a holistic picture? Of course business drives
Mhm.
them, there's money in it. The more
Absolutely.
you learn, the more money in it. But I see that, you folks are a little different. So what exactly drives you to do this on a daily basis? What inspires you to do this?
Right. I think that boils down, that's a very, very good question, actually. That boils down to a simple fact that why we picked up entrepreneurship as a career. Uh, I think the folks who came together and then started IODED had a simple mindset uh, as to uh, got into entrepreneurship for the right reasons, not because I have the time and the liberty and I would be my own boss. It's being self-disciplined, making sure that you are already updated, especially in digital marketing. Uh, on an average, let me give you an example in search engine itself. Search engine, Google almost releases updates close to 2000 in a year, right? So if you are not updated, if you're not communicating properly, if you're not active on all of these channels, guess what, you're going to become a dinosaur. So the things that work in 2012, most of the I'm not blaming the institutes or I'm not blaming the trainers, but most of the things that are being taught is still the same. In SEO, they say just generate backlinks, but generating backlinks is completely different right now. That's just a small minor thing. And truth be told, the patent that Google holds about the page ranking algorithm, which specifies about backlinking, that has expired. They haven't renewed their patent even. So think of what direction. These are all individual components that are collected, that just give you an inference as to what is supposed to be coming and then how updated you're supposed to be. Uh, if you are not going to be in the race, it is better to step aside rather than even compete. So that is what I would say.
I totally agree on that. And I really, really wish people went back and actually read these things, instead of just being carried away with what we are, the rest of the people, either in the industry or in the education industry, had to say. Um, See, now that you're talking about the updates and how things have to be done. See, in digital marketing world today, there are only two things that can survive. Okay. One is either you learn everything. Okay. You should know everything in digital marketing, all aspects, but specialize in one. Okay. That's one thing.
Mhm.
Or you step back and make digital marketing as just a part of your career, which means you're also looking at communication as in a broader sense, a more holistic approach where you're including probably PR and then media relations and then image management, just about everything. Okay, so what is your take on this?
So it's both have their own weightage. I'd say that's more of the individuality of that particular person, what they want to do. So if you are really good in maintaining an image of a particular person, digital marketing is exactly that. Marketing in itself is that you have a product, you have a customer, and you're bridging the gap with the right type of messaging, right? So that is what marketing is all about. If you're planning to get into digital marketing, don't uh, look at things as from a career's perspective and not a job. There is a huge difference between both of these. So if you're looking at a job, you're just looking at the end of the paycheck at the end of the day. If you're looking at a career, the paycheck doesn't matter at all. So as long as it excites you, which segment excites you is what you should be investing your time and your resources in. And in the digital marketing front, one suggestion that I would say is absolutely try to be the master of a jack of all trades, wherein understand everything about SEO, everything about SEM, everything about Facebook, all mediums that are available digital. Even right now, Spotify, there is Hotstar, there is programmatic ads, and so many other things that are available. There are so many things that are available that you might easily lose track about it. So knowing everything is good, but specialization is absolutely required, uh, because you know that no matter what, this is where you would come back to. This would be your point of origin most of the time. So pick up your specialization based on what your interests are. So I'm a very, very research oriented guy. I read about at least 20 to 25 PDFs almost on a daily basis. So if research is something that excites you, search engine is the game for you. If you like to write short copies which are impactful, and then you are really good with colors and then isolation effects, social media is something that is good for you. If you're really good with words, email marketing is good for you. If you're really good with consolidated crisp words, Twitter marketing is good for you. So depending on what your skill set is, identify that first before you choose a specialization. Absolutely.
Fantastic. I love the response. I love the answer. Now that you're speaking about digital moving, I mean, the whole set of advertising, especially in the last 4 months, moving to the OTT platforms. My question to you is, I think I was attending these webinars where they're talking about AI as an introduction to digital marketing world. Of course, I think considering the amount of data that is there, the structured data, of course, this is a hot field for AI, and it's AI probably crept into digital marketing without us even realizing, and it's been there for the last 3-4 years. Okay, but it's going to grow big considering the data that we have today, especially the e-commerce bit. Okay, so I want to understand, where do you find digital marketing in the context of AI by 2021, like a year from now?
So as you rightly mentioned, AI has been a part of uh, almost everything, I'd say. So starting from a simplest chatbot to your Facebook pixels, to the way that your ranking algorithm works, your relevancy works, to the way that why an email goes into your inbox and not into promotional. So all of these things are AI, right? AI, to put it in the simplest form, what AI is, you have a certain set of parameters. If you fall through that bucket, you get into a particular category. So AI and machine learning is always going to be there. It is ever evolving. From the digital marketing's perspective, understand the concepts of marketing in and out. If you understand it, end of the day, you are using these AI based solutions, all of these things, to only collect insights and then structure unorganized data. That's about it. All right. You don't have to freak out that AI is going to take your job. uh, it absolutely might, if it is a dead end job. Absolutely, I'm not denying that fact at all. If you feel like you're not creating an impact, that absolutely is going to be replaced by AI. But the only thing that you have to remember about AI is it is here to assist you. Take it up as an added advantage rather than thinking of it as a crutch to your career. So by next year, at least with the development which is happening from the AI's perspective, you will find a lot of tools. Very recently, I was reading a research paper where they're trying to create a model where you can understand the emotional capability or emotional quotient of a particular person. So that way, a certain type of colored ads can be displayed to someone based on their preference. So all these things are pretty impressive, and then pretty nice to hear. Uh, so as long as what Elon Musk says, if they don't take over and then make humans extinct, I think we should be able to survive and coexist with them.
I
Good day.
think that's very beautifully put. That's very beautifully put. Saying that, yeah, if we don't go extinct. But I think I like the former statement where you made things like AI could take over your job. Yes, I think it will take over your job if you're not innovative enough and if you're not moving forward, if you're stagnating. Because if a machine can do your job, it is more efficient, it is cheaper. Why not? Right. So I think, yes, that makes definite sense. With that, I think I have one last question for you. It's a more like a personal question.
Absolutely.
See, if you were currently not at IODED, okay, and if you're still in the field of digital marketing, where would you find yourself?
That's a pretty good question. I think since I'm from a business background. My parents have been in business, so I've always wanted to uh, get into entrepreneurship from a really small age. Uh, I think I would have eventually reached here. Probably I would have been ideating about, okay, how do I get into this space? But having that said, I would absolutely be in something that I'm passionate about. Absolutely, if I was satisfied with a job that gave me enough excitement, enough learning, of course, enough bank balance, I would have stayed there. But uh, uh, though all of those check boxes were true when I was with Microsoft, my learning stopped. And I wasn't okay. I was at the edge of the ledge, I'd say, and then I wanted to break free. And here, I've truth be told, in the entrepreneurship life, I've learned so many things, especially value for someone else's time. Uh, that is one of the most important thing that has to be understood. And also, we Indians don't understand one thing, that no is an answer. Please understand that as well. So that was a very difficult learning for me, because I came into this. Usually people say that being persistent is the key. Being persistent is not the key. Being correct and then being morally correct is what is the key. And try to be better than what you were yesterday. If you are able to check that single box, I think any job can give you that satisfaction that you're looking for. That's about it.
Lovely. I think the two single most important things, time management, and remember that no is an answer. I think that is my takeaway from this entire conversation. Thank you so much for this, Pretheesh. I mean, absolutely lovely that you took time off to even converse. I can imagine your busy schedule. I'm pretty sure after this, you're like, okay, I have to leave now for the classes. So I am so
Absolutely.
glad that you actually made time for this. I'm so happy for this. And thank you so much. Really, thank you so much. And for those of you who are watching, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of questions to Pretheesh and everything that he has said in terms of the courses that are being offered at IODED, or his perception of the industry itself, or you could have a difference of opinion on how this would go forward. So for that, you could just leave a comment below and we will ensure that we revert to you. And for those of us who want to write to us and be a part of this discussion, where this can be reaching a lot of students across the colleges or a lot of industry members, you can contact me on any of the platforms as Consult Mansi. It's CONSULTMANASI. I'm on Gmail, Facebook, not so much on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I'm definitely active there. So please get in touch with me. And thank you so much, Pretheesh, for this. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Mansi. Good day.
Good day.